Okay, recording this video after close of trade Friday 27th July 2012. Hope you had a good day's trading today. Going to make this a really quick video about running stops, just because probably everybody's watching the Olympic Games opening ceremony at the moment, and just want to do a quick video, get this out at the close on Friday. So we had a great example of stops being run today in my trading, and I had a good email from Nate a couple of days ago asking about running of stops. So let me just go through the email really quickly. Hey Barry, just wanted to say your work has drove my interest in trading the E-mini. Truly appreciate the work, the time you put in, learning so much, and your indicators rock, which is great to hear. Thanks, Nate. My question for you is regarding congestion zones and stops being run, which you often refer to in your videos, as in the video 723. The trade you took, you mentioned a bunch of stops where you run for 2.5 points or so above the congestion zone on the 1500 tip bar chart. Is that typical for the E-mini to move 2 points while taking out stops that might have been placed at a particular congestion zone? Or is it dependent on the particular time frame, i.e. congestion on a larger time frame would trigger a greater explosion, blah blah blah. Thanks for your time. Cheers, Nate. Okay, good email. Now, the question, quickly to be answered, is what I see as 2.5 points is being the kind of key number. And what it represents for me is basically amateurs or weak hands kind of placing their stops at incredibly obvious places, like previous highs and previous lows, you know, kind of pivot highs, pivot lows, and just having a 2 to 2.5 point. That's what they're willing to risk. So for me, that shows kind of amateur activity, that amount of risk is what they're willing to take. Now obviously they won't have entered at that extreme, so they're looking at taking a loss of more than that, but you know, psychologically the loss that they're kind of willing to take on that pivot high or pivot low is about 2.5 points. So let me just run through a trade today which had, you know, a classic sign of that, and you know the stops are being run because the market accelerates really quickly. So this is today's activity, 1500 tip bar chart. We've been in this kind of monster uptrend ever since Draghi spoke. This is the 40,500 tip bar chart. This is Draghi speaking. We had a 20-point kind of rise up, which was just unbelievable. I got taken out on a stop at a short trade that looked like a really nice setup, and then, you know, as soon as he opened his mouth, the thing just, you know, reversed. Anyway, so this is Thursday's activity, Friday's activity. So big ranges and uptrending, finally finishing with exhaustion buying, bearish divergence, and all these blue professional bars coming in at the close on Friday. But this is the big trend we've been in. So this morning, open here, we had a little bit of weakness at the open. We had exhaustion selling on the 1500 tip bar chart, followed by bearish, bullish divergence and a Rambo pattern. So the amateurs being wrong-footed here, trying to short the market at this point. Bang, we took off to the upside. So I was in trade at long 63.75, just under this kind of congestion zone here. So the market kind of took off, and we quickly moved. It was kind of almost 2.5. It's almost 3 points or something in my favor up to here. We form a pivot high, bit of exhaustion buying, and so on. But this thing isn't over. It's not going to turn around until we see bearish divergence, and for me those blue professional bars didn't happen right at the highs like that, so I still thought we were in an uptrend. And then the move that we made on the way down was all amateur bars kind of down here, and you can see Rambo patterns at this point here. Then we put in little bullish divergence signals right on the zero line at this support point here, which shows very weak selling at that point, very little sellers, and then we take off for another bite at the cherry. But what was interesting was previous pivot high at this point here, and we came back up to that point right here, and we get this little congestion zone. And here's the sequence that typically happens when we have this. First of all, you'll hit that previous high almost on the button, if not on it, within a quarter point of it. And usually there's a little bit of weakness from a previous high or strength from a previous low, because people are trying to trade a double top at this point here, a double bottom in the reverse. So they're actually going short at that point, trying to take short trades, possibly just taking profits because it was a previous high and they're kind of unsure of you know, the overall direction of the market. But you'll often see that point is hit, then you'll get a little bit of weakness that kind of comes in. You can see there over several bars. We come in with blue professional bars on the bottom there. Another blue professional bar kind of comes in. Those are the professionals buying in anticipation of this breakout, and then you get a huge flurry of activity. You get a really fast move, and all of a sudden the stops get broken within a range of 2 to 2.5 kind of points, and the market will really accelerate here. The reason why it's helpful to know that is that then there'll be a little bit of follow through, and you can place a target, after that range within another kind of point or two of those stops kind of being run. So I was lucky to get out at 70.50. Which is kind of in this move here. Yes, the market did a lot more kind of later on during the day, but for me that was a good trade. It was a 6 3/4 point trade long at 63.75. So if anybody knows me, that's way above my average trade size. So that was a nice trade. But knowing that 2 to 2.5 point range of stops being taken out is sitting there, you can then place your target within a point or so after that as a good place to get out on that exhaustion buying. And I always like being out on kind of these left shoulders while you got the activity going on there, rather than sitting through more kind of pullback to end of trend moves. If we go up to the 40,500 tip bar chart, you can see this was that previous pivot high there, and there was some professional profit taking kind of going on, but we've broken into an uptrend here, and that retracement move that kind of had Rambo patterns on the 1500 ended up being support, a pullback in an uptrend move on the 4500 tip bar chart. And then as soon as we broke above that previous high, there are those blue professional bars taking us through. We had that exhaustion buying blue professional bars kind of coming in here at that kind of 70 level. So I was happy to be out there at that point, but that's what the activity looked like, and that's that little congestion. The little bit of profit taking or kind of double top activity is just that single bar on 4,500. It's never kind of a huge amount of activity, but it can take a little bit of time to kind of go through. And on the 500 tip bar chart, here we go. Here's the activity. This is the previous kind of pivot high at this point here, which came after an end of trend move, and we had weakness with flush patterns kind of going on. We kind of sell off a little bit into Rambo patterns down here, and we're kind of holding and holding. We finally get those bullish divergence right on the zero line at support level here. No one wanted to sell this thing past 64, and then this thing just kind of took off. So that's where the previous high, bang, is hit, and that's that kind of double top activity, and we get a little bit of weakness from there, not much, a point and a half, something like that. The blue professional bars kind of come in, the support level holds, and then bang, we take off to the upside. And as we're traveling through those stops being hit, you can see exhaustion buying activity kind of going on. That happens for a couple of points, and then you get this kind of area where there's good profit taking to be had, because we've got real extreme kind of buying, exhaustion buying patterns going on here before that weakness kind of sets in, and you sit on a retracement of a couple of points kind of down here. So there we go. That's you'll know that when the stops are being run, because it'll be just above, a point or two above previous high or below a previous low, and you'll get an acceleration in the trading activity, and your chart will move really quickly, and the points you start to kind of gap up, if you like, the points as they're kind of going. So I'm just going to tag on that section of my trade today, just to show you the actual speed at which that takes place. But in answer to Nate's question, yep, that's what I'm looking for, 2 to 2.5 points on those kind of lower time frame charts, and it for me is represents kind of the weak hands or the amateurs just placing stops at incredibly obvious places. Alright, a little bit of weakness at the previous high, 67.5, because everybody's trying to play a double top, but we're in an uptrend on the 500 tip bar chart. We just kind of moved down into blue professional bars here. We've got support going off, so this will be pullback in an uptrend. And we've seen no blue professional bars on the 1500. Here we go, and these are the stops that are being run. Love it. Love it. Come on, yeah, there we go. And above resistance here, so we're going pullback to end of trend here. So pullback to end of trend here. So my target's 71. We're at 68 Rambo patterns kind of here. I thought it would have done more than that. So the stops will be sitting about 2 points higher, but here they go. Bingo! Love it. Alright, so at that point, where that's pretty overextended, 2 Rambo patterns. So now, kind of within reach. So got to be careful here. Exhaustion buying. Well, that's a classic. That's an absolute classic. So previous high right there, bang, comes up to it, kind of loses some juice, people playing a double top trying to short it, then that's a really nice little pattern. Blue professional bars, picking it up at that support level, bang bang bang, and then you could just see it, it's like a firecracker going off as they hit them, bang bang bang. And they sit about 2 points above the previous high for us, so 67.5 up to 69.5, that kind of area. So having seen that, market doesn't like flat tops like that. It'll have a little bit of a spike. Okay, bearish divergence on the 0 line, so hopefully we'll keep on going a little bit, but thinking about bringing in my target. Yep, I'm going to bring it into 70.5. So let's see, just on this little kind of extra juice that we've got, maybe into a flush pattern on 500 if that goes to 70.5.